Crypto is on the rise, making that dough in the crypto paradigm. Watching it go, buying low, selling high. Riding the wave, I'm here to stay, living in the digital age. No banks, no fees, just decentralized. It's crypto paradise. Ooh. No banks, no fees.
Alrighty, let's kick this thing off, surfers. Good morning from paradise. My name is Crypto Amaru, joined as always by Nick the Crypto Hitman, and it is Monday, February 23rd. The month is flying by here. I'm sick. There's a little blizzard outside. My kids have a snow day. My beloved Mexico is under attack from narco-terrorists. Bitcoin's dumping. But yet I'm still somehow bullish. I don't know. That's fucking insane, I guess you could say. But somehow long-term still a bull. Still a bull on pretty much all the above things. Minus the weather here on the East Coast, which is terrible. Before we get into any juicy stories, market analysis, how was your weekend there, Nick?
Pretty good. I mean, we saw Strickland get a W in the UFC fights again. He's a little crazy, a little wild, but he got his W, which was good to see. He was like the 3-1 underdog. So if you put $100 on it, you won 400. Shout out to you. We also saw the United States beat Canada, and the only thing they have going for them, which is hockey, taking the gold medal for them. I mean, that country is falling apart, Trudeau, blah, blah, blah. The one thing they were always better than the United States at is maple syrup and hockey, and now they're not even better than hockey at us. So I guess they still got maple syrup going for them.
I get my maple syrup from Vermont. Just, buy American. Buy American. I just buy whatever's at Costco, to be fair. But good morning. Crypto Durgan, appreciate your streams. Yeah, we were off on Friday. Like I said, I've been sick, man. This winter has been tough. Tough. Crypto winter, sickness, blizzards up the wazoo. But, zooming out, when you hit these levels of fear, when the RSI is this oversold, when Bitcoin is this devalued relative to gold and every other asset class, you can't help but think, man, the bottom is either in or it's really damn close. And so that's why I'm bullish. I think we eventually bounce here. I think we're going to be fine. But it has not been a good winter. It has not been a fun winter.
No, obviously we had the sell signals all the way up there at 118,000. We thought we were having a beautiful bullish formation forming here, and it really played out perfectly. Higher lows, grinding higher for several months. We had the breakout, and then literally the day of the breakout is when all the Greenland FUD started, and we haven't been able to catch a bid since then. Straight down. But what is going on today is the red over the weekend, even though it's still holding lows, but we're down here at 66,000. Is this due to tariff FUD with the Supreme Court? Is this due to the cartel burning down Costco's in Mexico? Is this due to the United States beating Canada in hockey, so they're selling all their Bitcoin? Like, what is going on in your opinion here? I know we have some articles. Yeah, I mean, pretty crazy. Even with the capitulation overnight, we still held the previous low there, which is great, but you don't want to repeat this, where it's like, all right, higher lows, we're grinding higher, holy cow, we're back to 98,000, we're bullish. And we can't get out of our own way, because that's kind of what we're forming here. You're going to come up to 76,000, hit this moving average, and then the next round of FUD's going to happen, and we're going to tumble back down to 59,000. What's going on?
Well, we'll see about that. Let's see how the next months play out. But I think last night's dump was just pure manipulation, centralized exchanges, liquidating the leverage longs. It was a very low liquidity weekend. You either have a fake Sunday pump or a fake Sunday dump. And in a bear market, which you've been in, I guess you're getting the dumps on Sunday. So that's, ostensibly, you could argue, okay, people are bearish because looks like the U.S. is about to do a strike against Iran. I don't think the Mexico stuff has anything to do with it. The U.S. beating Canada, I'm not sure that affects the markets as great of a story as it is. So, to me, it's just manipulation more so than anything. But zooming out, the title of the stream is the real reason for Bitcoin's weakness, and it's a liquidity It's a liquidity situation. Apparently, the Fed's been sucking liquidity out for the past month or so, and we just haven't had the easing we've needed for risk assets. And as much as we want Bitcoin to behave as digital gold and, oh, it's a hedge, no, the market just trades it like a tech stock, and it's pretty much in lockstep with tech stocks price performance over the past 3 to 6 months. So it is what it is. This is the asset we're dealing with. We need
we've been
conditions to
saying
improve.
this for a while now, that it's all about liquidity, and that's why we needed interest rates to come down. We were right on interest rates getting cut not once, not twice, but 3 times. The 4th time they did not cut rates. Now we have another 20 days until they can potentially cut again. We have until May until the new Fed chair gets in there, and we slowly have seen liquidity coming to the market. We can see the ISM slowly ticking up as well. But then what do you know? In just 4 weeks, Treasury has extracted $140 billion in liquidity from the markets. This has lessened the risk-on appetite among large investors, so they have stopped buying. But now Treasury is probably done with extracting liquidity and could inject $50 billion to $100 billion in liquidity in the coming weeks. Liquidity. We talk about it. Everybody talks about it, and we just haven't had it. There's also the breaking news that the Fed is going to inject another $14.685 billion into the economy this week as well. So, slowly but surely, but it's never good to see right when we have liquidity ticking up, liquidity is getting extracted, and with that, Bitcoin price falls.
Yes, it's disappointing in real time, but I think a healthy reminder. You have to understand, look, there's the stories that, hey, we talk about on this show and that everyone talks about. Political situations, military incursion somewhere, pump extractors. I could go on and on. All the stories that we tell as to why price go up, down, whatever. It largely comes back always down to liquidity. And if you understand that, on one hand, it can be disappointing in the moment, but on the other hand, it should be reassuring because you need to understand that at some point, the Fed, in partnership potentially with the Treasury, we'll see, will have to start re-injecting liquidity back and will have to lower rates to save the economy. That's what they always end up doing. They always end up printing more money to cover the old debts, lowering the rates to save the labor market. This time will be no different. It just hasn't happened yet. So be patient. Much as it sucks, I guess it can be a helpful reminder that it all comes back to liquidity, folks.
Yeah, and the things that can come for liquidity is there's supposed to be the big, beautiful bill and big tax refunds this year. That's going to be coming over right now for the next few months. If you guys haven't filed the taxes, make sure to do so. Or if you haven't filed the taxes, make sure to defer them until October. Usually I defer until October, and especially with this crypto winter, it's probably smart to defer until October, and hopefully the markets are higher and you have some capital you can tap into to pay those taxes if you're self-employed. But if you think you're going to get a refund from the big, beautiful bill, get that filled out, get your refund, dump it into crypto for us, because that is one source of liquidity. Another source of liquidity we've been talking about is the tariff rebates that could be happening. Well, what do you know? Trump talking about it again. Potentially $2,000 tariff dividend payments directly to the middle-class Americans. People have been questioning when this is going to come, but don't forget that he already did a $1,776 check to all the U.S. military members. This was to celebrate the 250th year anniversary, and that is pretty much $2,000 that probably came from tariff rebates as well. So some liquidity has come to the market, but only to the military members. Do you think a $2,000 tariff dividend still happens, or do you think the Supreme Court ruling kind of dampens down on that?
Well, he could theoretically still do this. I don't know. Because he's done checks without congressional approval before. I think even in the early days of COVID, he did a round of checks. I don't recall if Congress was involved. I don't think they were. And then the military one, as you mentioned. So this could be possible, even in light of the Supreme Court striking down the legal basis for some of the existing tariffs. By the way, I think that's, I don't think that it impacts the price performance near term, but I kind of felt like the uncertainty around that decision may have been a bit of a headwind. What's going to happen there? Is it going to affect the markets? What's Trump going to respond to? And then the decision comes down, I guess, kind of in line with expectations. And Trump basically says, okay, well, we're moving forward with tariffs effectively doing the same exact thing using another legal basis. So I think I'm glad that's done. Like, I think this story is done in terms of, oh, tariff FUD, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, he could easily do the tariff rebates. And then I know some companies are going to potentially apply to get that money back that they already paid. Like there was 180 billion, I think, raised through the old version of the tariffs. But Trump was like, they're going to have to sue us for it. And it's going to be a 5-year litigation process. And so in the meanwhile, use the money for something else. And if the companies win in court, government pays from another source, theoretically. So we'll see.
What else we got going on today? Well, could a low be near, in your opinion, on Bitcoin? Obviously, we thought that 80,000 was a major low, and it ended up being a major low. We went from 80,000 as high as $98,000. Big gains, higher lows, 3 months of slow grind higher that led to some gains in various altcoins, various networks, etc. But of course, we know that the Greenland FUD happened and it sold off. But there's some big players who think that the Bitcoin low is also near, because look at this. Institutional traders are closing their shorts and they are now net long BTC again. This is according to the 2026 McClellan Financial Publications. Look closely at the last 3 times this happened. Yes, and marked near the lows the last 3 times that we saw this kind of activity. Remember though, institutions have been getting long, buying long, compounding long for a long time here. And yet price is still at 67,000. Will institutional traders actually ever spur retail demand and retail FOMO?
I think so. It's not necessarily institutions in and of themselves that will spur it. It's overall sort of macro liquidity conditions. I think we need the market to get risk on again. We need the Fed to cut rates dramatically, start some form of QE, and then I think money will flood into risk assets again. But yeah, institutions are going to continue to buy the dip. It's interesting because there's seemingly endless signals that the bottom is either here or very near, right? The fact we've had, I think, 5 months now of red monthly candles on Bitcoin, that's like unprecedented. I think it's happened once before, and then historically you get 5 months of an uptrend. Okay, so it's a pretty big signal. You see fear. I mean, fear has been sub 10 for like a month or two now. Again, you go back in time and you look at, COVID, FTX, Terra Luna, other major instances where fear was prolonged this low, and that's also marked a bottom. So look, I mean, and I could probably go on. There's probably 10 other indicators that were at or near a bottom. But I mean, it's sort of like this has been the market cycle of everything's different. And so, going out a limb and saying, oh yeah, it's definitely going to reverse and it's definitely whatever. It's just tough to say. It's tough to say when that's going to happen. But I mean, it's eventually going to happen.
I don't have the tweet up, but I think I was scrolling this morning when I was still laying in bed, and it was the market fear was at 5 or something like that. I think I saw an image of it at 5.
Yeah. And that's the lowest. I think during FTX, I think it hit 8 or 9. I mean, we're below that. I've been thinking about the fear index greed a little bit more. While I'll get to Roman's comment in a second. Shout out to Roan. It's really just a proxy for price, the fear and greed index, isn't it? Because like fundamentals, it doesn't justify a 5. We didn't just have the implosion of like one of the biggest exchanges, FTX. We didn't just have the start of what could be a humanity destroying virus. I know COVID didn't turn out that way, but in the moment it was scary. People, you can't go back to how you felt in March 2020. It was scary. It was genuinely scary. This is just price is bad, and it's been bad for a while, and it's underperformed other asset classes, and therefore, max fear. So it's pretty lame. Right now, why we're so fearful, it's really just because of the price. But, man, historically, those have been the best times to buy, so my guess is not going to be different this time.
Another thing that lines up with the fear and greed index at 5 is this right here. Google searches for Bitcoin is dead and Bitcoin to zero spiked at the previous 2 major bottoms. It's happening again. Is this another bottom signal? We see the 2018 bottom. You can see what's going on there. The 2022 bottom. after the FTX collapse. You can see what's going on there. And then, of course, the 2026 bottom absolutely surpassing both of those previous bottoms. Retail is not interested. Retail is gone. You have Kick streamers talking about how, see, they were talking about how Bitcoin is worthless at 70K, and now it's 66K, and they're saying, see, told you guys, it's not good, it's junk, invest in something else. These are like 22, 23-year-old guys who are streaming to tens of thousands of individuals celebrating a $4,000 drop in Bitcoin like they're right, and it's going to zero. And the Google searches also reiterate that as well. I mean, at some point, if you believe in the tech, if you believe in this industry, if you believe that the institutions won't end up with pie on their face, you're going to see a massive reversal. We keep talking about all these things that point to that is coming sooner than later, but we still run into FUD every time we try to break out. Last time we tried to break out to 116,000 FUD. Then we tried breaking out 98,000 FUD. And then we tried breaking out again to 70,000 and right back down here to 66. And you got kick streamers celebrating on the graves of Bitcoiners.
Well, understand what's happening there. Anytime Bitcoin is underperforming, look, most people don't own Bitcoin. Most people knew about Bitcoin at some point, decided not to invest, have known people that have gotten rich off of it, and they're probably salty, right? Because you can't really, it's hard to get rich on Bitcoin anymore. You can maybe on other coins, sure, whatever. Bitcoin kind of, the days of 100x or 1000x returns are probably gone. And so folks who faded it, I mean, they're still salty. And they'll be happy anytime it's down. It's happening right now. I mean, here's another, it's just human nature. Here's another example. A lot of people know I have a condo in Tulum. Beautiful, beautiful condo. I bought with crypto gains, by the way. You guys can stay there. Just FYI, all crypto paradise surf down members can stay there for free. Mexico's having a little bit of trouble right now with these narco terrorists. And let's not sweep it under the rug and just pretend it's not a thing. But, plenty of people reaching out being like, bro, Mexico's cooked. Like, aren't you like pissed that you bought a condo, this and that? It's like my friends who, they're working 9 to 5s. They will probably work for another 40 years. They will have no chance of retiring on a beach anywhere ever. And, they're like happy that, my investment in Mexico is seemingly, it's the condo's going to be fine, but they're like, haha, told you so. Right. Mexico's bad. Same shit with people that are fading Bitcoin and shitting on Bitcoin now. It's for the likes, for the clicks. And it comes down to that fundamental, jealousy factor that I guess I'm getting at here. So I would ignore those people. They're always wrong. Bitcoin's never going to zero. This is a story as old as when Bitcoin started. And it won't stop. This will happen when Bitcoin is at $1 million and then dips to $900,000 or $800,000.
Well, that goes to as well when people are like, well, what if the business idea doesn't work out? Or what if the investment idea doesn't work out? Or what if that doesn't work out? You're taking all this risk. Well, then the answer is, I'll just go get a job doing a 9 to 5. Your worst case scenario as an entrepreneur is the best case or the current life in which those haters are living. Keep that in mind. When people ask you, what are you going to do if this doesn't work or that doesn't work? I'll go get a 9 to 5 like you. Your worst case is their current life and their trajectory in life. So don't fret about it. Brush it off. Keep doing your thing. And if you have a 9 to 5, but you're doing crypto investing or you're doing a side hustle or you're trying a new business plan, just do it because you only live once and nothing can fail if you don't try it at all.
Yeah, look, I think in life you got to take some risks. That's, I guess maybe I'm just a risk taker inherently, and some people aren't, and that's fine. I don't begrudge anyone as to how they live their lives. I think there's probably more optimal ways to live, and there's suboptimal ways to live. Like if you're miserable in your 9 to 5, I think you have to do something about that. But if you're happy in your 9 to 5, there's plenty of people that actually like their job, even though it is a 9 to 5, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's great. But just know that you're probably going to be doing that shit till you're like 65, 70 years old. And then how many more years you got to like retire? I'm trying to like fast track the retirement thing. And sometimes it takes a little bit of risk. You got to buy a condo in Mexico where it turns out there's a lot of narco terrorists around. Is what it is. That's, by the way, that story is, I think, a little overblown. First of all, I've seen no instances of any Americans getting hurt. It kind of reminds me of, remember the George Floyd riots when all the liberals were torching various fucking gas stations and Walgreens all over various cities in America? Now it's the narco terrorists throwing a tantrum. I guess they're a little scarier than the libs. But still, I mean, riots happen. It's riots. Things are burning. I'm sorry. It sucks. Tulum's fine, though, by the way. Tulum is good. All right, I want to give a shout out to Roan, who, man, has been sticking through the thick and the thin. Maybe a good time to talk about Pulse Chain, too. Shout out to Roan, by the way. He's got his 400K surf, DCAing. Yeah, man. I mean, look, is it? Can anyone guarantee that a particular artist alt will do 100x? No. But I mean, I like Mello at 90,000 and Surf at $100,000 market caps more than, I liked him when they were at Mello was at the all-time high of like 15 mil, 16, 20 mil, so power of the DCA. Let's hope at least a couple of these end up becoming massive runners for you. But what happened? Was there a big whale on Pulse Chain that like dumped a bunch of PLSX or something? Did you see that over the weekend?
I saw there was a big capitulation sell-off. I didn't really look into who was a seller or what people are talking about. Been kind of out of the loop over there. Less people talking about it. There was a massive wick that then caught itself. So I'm not sure what's going on over there. All I can say is PTGC continues to hold ground and is creating some green candles. They deployed a lot of their DAO funds into buying it. And similar to how PTGC structure is, that's the surf structure as well. So you can kind of try to hold your ground, fight upstream when that DAO is producing funds, buy back and burn, buy an LP ad, do whatever it is. So I need to dig deeper into what's going on with Pulse Chain and PLSX to give a more thorough view than that. But I did see some FUD pop up on the feed, or some big whale finally gave up and capitulated, sold it off, it bounced, and now it's almost regained all of its gains, down a couple percent today, right in line with Bitcoin and Ethereum. Obviously, PLSX, and Pulse Chain near the all-time lows here, no good. While we still have Surf is up like a 10x over its launch price, PTGC is still up about a 10x from when we first started buying it while producing passive income. So not fun, not easy gains, not near the all-time highs as far as portfolio is concerned, but at least the good token economics are trying to keep you afloat amidst all the waves going on Pulse Chain and altcoins in general.
Yeah, I mean, anyone who's feeling bad about their Pulse Chain bags, everything's down massively right now. You can be salty about it. And of course, anyone who bought the top is hurting. Or you can look at like an opportunity like Aron is doing. But yeah, I think what happened is, by the way, shout out to Dovikin jumping in the conversation. I think a whale in one single sell, though. So it was like $150,000 worth of PLS sold like in a single transaction. Which, I mean, maybe on ETH or a chain with like a ton of liquidity, that doesn't really move the needle. But, Pulse Chain's a relatively small chain that doesn't have a ton of liquidity. One single sell, I mean, it's a very unwise thing to do by that individual. Maybe he was hacked or something.
Especially when transaction fees are a penny.
Yeah, it makes very little sense. Maybe he was hacked. That's my only like reasonable explanation why you wouldn't just slowly sell it over the course of a couple days or a week. But, hey, that's his right to do. But normally what happens in that situation, I guess what happened here is people look at that and say, oh, wait, it's temporarily undervalued by, 10%. I'm going to make a quick gainer. I'll buy in here. And the price quickly recovers. So all good.
The last thing we want to show about Bitcoin here, and then maybe we'll move to ETH, is we were showing this on Thursday, I believe, talking about how if Bitcoin ends February in red, it would mark a 5-month losing streak, the longest in 7 years. Last time it happened was back here, and you had a massive 6-month losing streak that led to a 4x in Bitcoin price after that in 2019, right before the massive run that we saw for that bull market cycle. Will history repeat itself? Obviously, I don't know. We'll see. This is 1, 2, 3, 4. This will be a 5th double-digit red month for Bitcoin here in February. And then will March finally be the green month? Will we get that SAVE Act, the Clarity Act, getting passed by the end of March? Well, hopefully. That's what they're talking about now, putting a finite deadline on the banks coming to the table and creating and negotiating something that works for everybody when it comes to stable coins and that Clarity Act. But yeah, 5 months in a row of red. Last time this happened was before Bitcoin did a 4x. Do you think we have 5 months, 6 months, 7 months, 8 months? What do we got going on here? Are we just red forever heading towards zero? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, man. I do think we bounce here. Clarity Act is going to play a big role in it, for sure. And there's been some speculation I'm seeing now. Some accounts are saying, March 1 is good as book it, right? March 1, it's happening. And then there's other accounts that are saying, oh, it's being postponed like indefinitely. The banks, like, they're not coming to terms. So I don't really know what to make of the Clarity Act situation. I guess we'll just have to wait and see. That's obviously huge catalyst that's potentially coming. But eventually we're going to bounce here. Eventually we're going to bounce. I think going back to kind of our lead story, it's going to come down to Fed policy, man. It's going to come down to Fed rate cuts. I know we have a meeting at the middle of March, if I'm not mistaken, like the 19th or something like that. March 19th, so we'll see what they do there. And then, Kevin Warsh coming in May. I think he's going to really be the difference maker here for the markets and sort of save our butts. So, we could have a few more months of downtrend. Who really knows? But eventually the market's going to turn green on the back of some easing. No doubt about it.
What's going on? All right. It looks like there's a raid going on for Roca Finance. So I don't know anything about it. Maybe you need to take a look. But they got a raid of people in here from Roca Finance. I don't know. Is it orchestrated? Likely. Because
I'm glad people are still shilling stuff.
Right. Please
You know, this is so great to see. People still care enough about altcoins to shill particular bags of theirs. Good for you.
It is kind of wild because live shows in general, whether here on Crypto Paradise, Learn Crypto, or any other live show platform you looked at, when the market is good, there's so much shilling of altcoins that you almost got to warn people to stop shilling, otherwise you're going to ban them because half the chat is all shilling. And that hasn't happened in a long time, and here you go, somebody coming in here and shilling Roca Finance like 30 people in a row. So probably orchestrated, but we welcome it. At least there's some life in the market still.
Interesting subtopic there. So we know that Twitter's or X has been undergoing some pretty major changes over the past few months. Like they basically killed InfoFi. Now the guy who basically runs X, named Nikita Bear, is saying that influencers or whomever, I guess, is talking about coins on X is going to have to disclose whether they hold that coin or they risk their account getting banned. And I'm seeing a lot of influencers, oh, this is horrible. You're going to kill Twitter and kill crypto even more. And my take is, no, that's not going to kill crypto. I think it's a good thing. Like, first of all, if you're watching a show like this or you're scrolling on X and you see an account talking about a coin, they either have been paid to talk about it or they're holding it. They're not just doing it for their health. They're not just like, oh, I love this random altcoin. I don't hold any of it. No one's paid me to do it, but I'm talking about it anyway. So, get your head out of your ass. Obviously, everyone's incentivized. We live in a capitalist system. Crypto the most so. And then secondly, it's like, why is it bad? Why is it, okay, so someone says now, okay, I've invested in this coin or they're paying me to do marketing. That's not bad at all. So anyway, these bots who are shilling that coin reminded me of that story. Crypto Paradise, by the way, we always disclose. We say, hey, we're doing a marketing deal. We got a marketing deal with them, or we bought into the coins, or both. We've been disclosing this stuff for since the channel existed because I think it's the right thing to do, and I think arguably bullish. It's like, oh, these guys actually believe in this coin. They bought it, or they're holding it, or whatever, and they're talking about it. Why is that bad?
That's very true. Roan says Democrats don't want to be the party that killed the Clarity Act going into the midterm elections, so I think it gets passed surprisingly soon. Within a month or two, that's when the fun begins. Yeah, we've been saying we want it to pass by the end of Q1 2026. That leaves you with a little over a month, maybe 5 weeks to go. Also, you would think it would be a partisan topic. You think that Democrats would be on board because there is some Bitcoin believers, but we saw it on the agricultural level, that it was a 13 to 12 vote or 12 to 11 vote, whatever it was. All Republicans voted yes. All the Democrats voted no. So, it's nice to say that. You think they wouldn't be that dumb. You think they would have financial incentives for Bitcoin and the United States being a leader of digital currencies. But we saw it on a small scale where it only got passed by one vote. And every single Democrat voted no, and every single Republican voted yes. So we'll see how it goes on to these next levels. Of course, I think it will get passed. The Republicans have the power in the House and the Senate. But I guess it's really getting the banks who don't like working with others to work with others for the first time in a long time.
That's what I was going to say as to the Clarity Act. I don't know if that's something, let's say it doesn't get passed or is delayed or whatever. I don't know if you can blame the Democrats or even the Republicans. I mean, it looks to me like really this is the banks holding this up in a major way. And then also you could argue the crypto industry. Like, why is it that we need yield on the stable coins so bad? We've never had that before. When have we had it that I can just hold in my... I got USDT, I got USDC sitting in a wallet. It doesn't earn me shit. Maybe if I brought it on a centralized platform.
You got to put it on Coinbase, yeah.
But apparently that's not what this is even about. That's allowed. And that's going to continue to be allowed because that's allowed through the stablecoin bill that had passed. So I don't even know what the hell we're arguing about anymore, honestly. But yeah, it's not a Republican or Democrat thing at this point. I think it's more of a bank thing. Let's hope they can come to terms, or Trump administration can strong arm enough of the bank, lobbyists to come over and say, all right, we'll agree to this, that, the other sort of compromise. It's just compromise, guys. It's called, let's not let perfect be the enemy of the good. This bill is good. Overall, a net positive for the industry. Let's not let one sort of niche element of it ruin it for everybody else.
Yeah, and then the other thing we wanted to talk about today, we haven't talked about in a while, is really Ethereum and how we think Ethereum continues to outperform Bitcoin. And Ethereum is going to lead the bull cycle higher and altcoins higher. If anything's going to do it, it's got to be ETH. Well, an update from Bitminer, the largest Ethereum DAT. Tom Lee and Bitmine just updated its Ethereum holdings as of February 22nd. That is yesterday. Here's what Bitmine owns. They don't just own Ethereum. They own 193 Bitcoin, $17 million investment in 8Co stake. That is that one random altcoin. That's the one investment that I was like, well, I don't agree with that. 200 million in Beast Industry stake. I think that is very bullish and very underappreciated. 691 million in unencumbered cash. That is a lot of potential Bitcoin to be bought down here at these prices. And their holdings of Ethereum are up to 4,422,659. That is 3.66% of the total supply, with 2.87 million of those being staked. And they're trying to stake more. There's a 45-day wait period, so expect that staked amount to continue to grow. That is up in the past 22 days from 4.29 million ETH up to 4.42 million ETH. So they have been slowly buying, slowly compounding, and slowly accumulating more Ethereum, taking it off the open market in just 3 weeks. Pulled another, 200,000 Ethereum off the market? That's pretty nice. That's not a small number.
Not at all. I think it demonstrates one of the biggest stories, or kind of underappreciated aspects of the past few years in crypto as a whole, and it's something we call the Great Rotation. This has been early adopters essentially selling their coins, whether Bitcoin, whether Ethereum, at a 10x, 50x, 100x multiple where they bought it at, to the new institutional buyers. Michael's strategies, obviously the poster child of that on the Bitcoin side, and then Bitmine on the Ethereum side. So I think very bullish. They're going to hit the 5%. Maybe they get even higher. We'll have to see. I mean, it seems like their machine is working pretty well. I know the share price is down, but they're still raising capital and buying Ethereum and staking and earning off of that, and then investing in adjacent sort of assets that could help them in the long run or help the industry. So I think this is nothing but bullish, man. And eventually the old heads, the OGs, they're either going to run out of coins to sell, or they're just going to decide, hey, it's not worth selling at these levels. Just going to hodl here, and we'll have the opportunity for price to go up again.
Martin Max King says, we are arguing about who will make more money on this bill.
I mean, that is true, right? Like, what's the answer to every question? What's like the ultimate question, ultimate answer to every question that you may have about anything in the world ever? Money. Just money. Who's going to make it? How much? When? So, this is no different here with this Clarity Act negotiation. I just feel like neither side is going to get everything they want. So let's just compromise and get something done here. Why are we letting one little part of it? Who is earning money on stablecoins right now? This is not even a thing. And apparently they're not even talking about banning what's happening over on Coinbase presently, which is depositing your USDC to earn I guess you can even earn a little bit of Bitcoin now, which is cool. But to earn like 5%, apparently they're not even talking about banning that. It's something else. So I don't know what we're arguing about. I don't fully get it. Just get something done, guys. Time's ticking.
Looking over altcoins here at Dex Tools, Dex Screener, and TradingView, nothing in the green really. I guess Surf is up 2.43%. Okay, nice.
Let's go.
Everything else is red, 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 and more red. Yeah, that's all I can really say. Red, 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 red. Everywhere you look, there is red. NASDAQ is red, but still holding the moving average that we said it needed to hold, and also said it was a magnet, so we kind of were looking for NASDAQ to come down a bit. We didn't think that NASDAQ dropping, 2% was going to affect Bitcoin and Ethereum this much. Ethereum dropping from 2,900 to as low as 1,900 currently. Bitcoin, remember we had 98,000, but really dropped from like 85,000 down here to 67,000. Pretty crazy drop there for Bitcoin as well. So we're following along just like you. We're long on our HODL positions. We have traded out some of our trading positions. And we're waiting and seeing, not believing that the institutions and the bright minds that have gotten behind Bitcoin and Ethereum are going to be wrong about this. Still believe liquidity can come to the market as interest rates are poised to continue to drop, and liquidity from tariff rebate checks, from tax refunds, from other injections are coming to the market. We talked about how the Treasury looks like they're going to inject another $50 to $100 billion back in, and we were talking about how the Fed looks like they're going to inject $14.5 billion back in. We need liquidity to come to the markets in order for our favorite risk-on assets to catch a bid once again.
I think we also need this Iran situation to resolve itself. We haven't talked about it yet on the show, but that is potentially another reason why we had to dump yesterday and why the stock market opened up red. There is a lot of fear and uncertainty over whether we go to quote war with Iran again. I have some insider information for you guys to report, however. So, my son's birthday was yesterday, and one of his friends, the father, works for the U.S. military. He doesn't have like true insider information, but he is a very, very smart guy. He knows a lot more about this stuff than I do, and probably anyone else watching the stream. And he said, by the way, he got it right last time. Remember last April whenever it was when we attacked Iran's nuclear facilities, right? He predicted, he is like, they're going to attack, we're definitely going to attack, but it's going to be a limited thing and it's going to be over quick. So he got all that right then. He was over last night, we're chatting for like a long time on this topic, and he said he thinks the same thing is going to happen again. It's going to be a quick, limited strike. He doesn't think we're going to try to take out Khomeini. It's going to be basically about demonstrating our military might over Iran again and trying to bring them to the negotiating table to get something done over their long-term nuclear ambitions. So, and we talked, by the way, about the market reaction too. And he was like, if you look at what happened to the markets last time, it was a quick, dump and then it rebounded. So probably the same thing again. He's like, there won't be boots on the ground. We're not going to a full war. It's not going to be an Afghanistan or Iraq situation. Limited strike. Try to bring them to the negotiating table. Show our military might. And that's, by the way, if they don't get a deal done in advance of that. But it looks like that's not happening. It looks like we are going to do something here. And that's probably why the market's a little bit scared.
Yeah, I did see there's like a warship heading over to Iran, and people were saying nothing's going to happen until that warship gets there, and it was going to be there in 24 to 48 hours or something like that. That was over the weekend. So I guess we'll see if we're going to have some more fireworks in the early part of this week, as Mexico is having its own fireworks going on down there. Global instability, I don't think it's a new thing by any metric. I just think it affects everybody's mind and the markets more than ever due to everybody having literally a 4K camera in their pocket. You're seeing more, you're hearing more, you're having to decipher more. AI is a thing. Manipulation is a thing for political gains. There's a lot of mental warfare going on in the world, more so than there was in the 80s, 90s, 70s when our parents were growing up, that's for sure.
It's also a lot easier to buy and sell assets, even like on leverage, now using your phone in seconds than it ever was before.
Right, before you would have to call somebody at 9 to 5 and do that,
Yeah, you can react financially in a way that our parents' generation never could. I mean, it used to take days to sell a stock. Like there used to be like physical stock certificates like delivered to you. I don't know how it was actually really done back in like the 70s, but there was like a physical element to it at one point. And then obviously that shifted to electronics and stuff, but nothing was the speed of light like it is now. And so, yeah, you got 24/7 markets, 24/7 reactions. Now, and by the way, now you have AI and misinformation that could impact things as well. Like, I'm seeing videos on what's happening in Mexico, and apparently a lot of those are either AI or they were videos from another disaster or some situation that happened in a different part of the world. People are like, look what happened in Mexico, and then like you read the comments like, Grok, is this real? And it's like, no, this is from footage from like 2009 in some like Islamist country. So the world's changed. Everyone reacts quick. Misinformation. I mean, it's all this stuff is affecting things. But again, I think you got to look to the long-term trends, liquidity, the stuff that really moves the markets over the long haul. It's not really going to be these limited strikes or whatever chaos in some random country. That's just the stories we like to talk about.
Yeah, I wish these shows would get back to being about Bitcoin go up, Ethereum go up, alpha opportunities, gems, pre-sale opportunities. We just need the liquidity to get there for that to happen. Talking about pre-sale opportunities, I saw some good videos from you when you're down in Tulum about pools. Pools price is up 48% since we got on board with them. So a little bit of a light at the end of the tunnel there. At least anybody who got involved should be up on that, not including passive income, 48% or somewhere in that range. Hey, look, right now isn't fun. We can come on here and talk about macros, talk about our beliefs, our visions, and other global incidents, U.S. hockey, whatever it may be. But that isn't really what we enjoy doing. We enjoy coming here with the alpha, with the gems, making quick gains, 5, 10% in a day, 20% in a week, 30% in a month, whatever it is. And we just haven't been able to do that for quite some time now. And we're looking for this market to turn back on here. And we'll be here doing our thing to make that a reality, whether that's marketing other projects, giving you opportunity in pre-sales, finding alpha, finding gems, finding short-term trades. I mean, even the Learn Crypto Discord, it's pretty quiet. Todd's giving some updates in there. Some people are happy that we're going down. Some people are sad we're going down. But there isn't a lot of charts. There really isn't a lot of opportunities because the market isn't poised for it. The market has just been flat or down across the board in all asset classes, and you haven't been having any real alpha, gems, or insider information to be able to work off of to make some gains.
That is all true, but I will say this. I spent last week on a number of calls with new projects that are building, looking to launch on pools, some new projects that are looking for marketing through Crypto Paradise. So it's not as if there's no activity happening kind of in the background in the altcoin sector. The problem really comes down to if you buy into something now, even if it's a low cap, even if it's like, okay, prices are bottomed out, it's $100,000 market cap. Like it can't go much lower. There's only 100 holders or whatever. It's like we're super early. We've seen instances where even those can go down. And it's like, Jesus. So it's just tough to pull the trigger sometimes. But I did speak with a great project, by the way, on Friday, which we'll probably be working with here. We'll do an alpha call. We'll probably be buying some of the supply ourselves, like taking, I guess, a little bit of a risk on a low cap because we like it and has a product and founder's legit. It was actually brought to us by Crypto Paradise DAO member. But, even with something like that, you kind of have to know in the back of your mind, like if Bitcoin shits the bed more, if Ethereum's going down, if Solana's going down, I mean, you're fighting upstream in many instances. So it does not make it fun. But just to give you guys a little bit of hopium, the low cap sector of the market is not dead by any stretch. There are still a lot of projects building.
That was really all the news pieces we wanted to talk about. I just wanted to kind of bring that up with the altcoins as well. Pools showing some green, Surf showing some green. Granted, it's still at the lows. There is some DAO funds there and some no expectation funds. And although the PLS in terms of dollars isn't worth all that much, Surf's price is down as well. So, expect to see some kind of movement there with those funds, some kind of Surf buy and burn or some kind of Surf LP ad. Just to let you know that, hey, the system is still running. The Surf supply is still decreasing. Surf will continue to be bought and burned. And hopefully when the market turns around, these marketing deals, these pools raises, and any other revenue that is coming in can turn into some Surf buy and burns to catch the next wave of green candles on Pulse Chain and the broader crypto market.
Well said, my friend. Well said. Gonna give our live stream a little bit of a retweet here.
Moonmutt saying good
Appreciate.
morning. You're here a little late, Moonmutt, but happy you're here. Still rocking the Pulse Chain PFP. I see there with Pulse, PLSX, and Hex.
Yeah, man. Great to see you guys still showing up each and every day here. We're gonna continue to do the same. I know the market's been shit for the past 6 months, but look, it's something we haven't lived through before. It's a bear market. Do I wish we'd sold 126K? Of course. You always wish you sold it at the highs. But, hodling on here, as that is the best course of action for at least my portfolio and my financial situation. We don't give financial advice to the show, we give opinions. But it's great to see you guys showing up each and every day. We'll continue to do the same. It is a snow day here, though. We are in the midst of a blizzard. My kids are probably driving my wife insane downstairs. Like, it's a legit blizzard outside. I mean, this is nuts. And so, by the way, my friends are like, bro, you see what's happening in Mexico? Like, aren't you glad you're here in the States? I'm like, I'd rather take some instability, like at my, in a distant city far away from where my condo is, versus having to live through this blizzard.
More snow for you. Yeah, we had some warm days last week, and then it started getting real cold over the weekend. No snow here. I haven't looked out the window, so, knock on wood. But yeah, I saw you got your 3 forms of ID in order to go snow shoveling, or what you got going on there?
Yeah, right. Fortunately, I live in the suburbs, so I guess good and bad. We have to do our own shoveling. The city doesn't pay for shovelers. But I guess if you're in New York, yeah, you need ID to be a shoveler now. Welcome to Mondani's New York, guys. All I know is hold. Yeah, man. That's what's got me here. So, since 2017 today, basically just been hodling. Yes, I did take profits during the height of, 2021 bull cycle. But outside of that, it's been mostly hodling, just kind of making money within crypto and generate income that way, so I don't need to sell my core holdings. It's worked out for the past almost 10 years. Will it continue to work out? I think so. I mean, I believe so. But man, the market does test your conviction at times, doesn't it?
That is true. This has been a long drag. And the thing is, people are like, what do you mean a long drag? It's like, guys, we saw Bitcoin do its thing in BNB, and we had some gains there. But Ethereum still hasn't gone to a new high. There still hasn't been an altcoin cycle where things are popping off. We had like a meme window of 3 months, made some money on, fuck 9 to 5, Mong coin, some other assets, but really just haven't had follow through when it comes to overall market conditions. Really, we got stuck at phase 2, which is when Ethereum and large cap start showing some gains, and we never even really saw that. BNB went to a new high, Sol went to a new high, Ethereum didn't. Cardano, Tron, all those really didn't either. So it's like, we didn't have fun this market cycle. That's why it's been a dredge. Even the bull cycle, if you're a 4-year halving cycle believer, you got Bitcoin having a weak market breakout, Ethereum doing nothing, the second largest asset, and you had to make your gains on very short-term time frames, and having conviction or beliefs in any asset really made you round trip things rapidly in this cycle.
Yeah, man. It's been not fun for the past, basically, let's call it 5 years since like the last highs of the alt season. I mean, we managed to survive. We found some gains places, as Nick mentioned. But it hasn't been fun, hasn't been easy. The only takeaway I have is eventually we're going to get back to a place where liquidity will come back in a major way. Fed's going to is going to cut rates at some point. They will do serious stimulus at some point. If you're in alts, if you're in, very risk-on assets, that's basically what you're waiting for. Until then, it's usually boring and sideways and down. So that's where we're at. Wish we had better news for you. Wish there wasn't a blizzard. Wish there wasn't chaos all around the world. But this is what we're dealing with, folks. And buy, hold, or sell. I choose to hold.
I do as well. Is it fun? Go do some side income. Go do some side hustles. Sell some collectibles out of your basement. Keep grinding your 9 to 5. Keep DCAing and keep believing, because that's what got here to begin with. And if you look at where you started, we're at $0 in crypto. Maybe it was a year ago. Maybe it was 10 years ago. Where are you at now? It doesn't feel good right now, but I guarantee it's bigger than zero. And you got that with research, conviction, and activity.
That's a great point. I mean, I started in crypto with zero. Well, I don't know what my first investment in the market was, maybe a few $1,000s back in 2017, and dramatically changed my life since then. So yeah, last 5 years have basically not been fun, but still better than working 9 to 5, and I probably still would have a lot of debt at that. My life would be completely different if I had stuck in that kind of that traditional lane I was in. So is what it is. Take the good with the bad, folks. We'll be back tomorrow with another stream. I gotta get down to my family. I hear my kids are going insane. We got a snow day here, as I've mentioned. So we'll cut this one a little short today, but appreciate everyone's time, and until tomorrow, see you on the beach.